Hello, I'm Kev, your living proof that you're never too old, and these are my thoughts on issue 2 of New Superman that came out this week. Now beware, there are some quite significant spoilers ahead, so if you haven't read this yet, you might want to go away and read it and then come back and hear what I thought about it. So, straight up front, I think this is awesome. This is my favourite Superman book that's going on at the moment. If you haven't picked up, I think it just did an issue 1. I don't think we had a rebirth because he didn't exist before. So if you didn't read issue 1 a month ago, basically there's this Chinese lad called Keenan Kong, I think his name is. Certainly Keenan something. And he doesn't have any, or he didn't have any superpowers, but he does a heroic act. He saves his sort of frenemy guy from being attacked by a supervillain. Someone magically scientific-y notices him doing it, pulls him to one side, injects him with magic Superman powers, and suddenly he has all the powers of Superman, which apparently is a thing that scientists in China can do now. So he can do all the stuff that Superman would normally be able to do. In addition to that, we find out that the Chinese, not clear if it's government or someone else in China, but someone in China is trying to build the Justice League of China. So we have a Chinese version of Batman and a Chinese version of Wonder Woman, and they're both awesome. The Batman one particularly is just brilliant, and the costume designs and all that stuff, that you can see that the artist of this comic is just having fun with it and just going nuts, and it's brilliant, and it's quite light-hearted as well in the interchanges that we get between Batman and New Superman, and Wonder Woman doesn't really say a lot, but hopefully she integrates into it a little bit more as time goes on. So the general gist of what's going on in this issue is Keenan, although he's been injected with Superman dust, he's lost his powers. So he had them very briefly, now they've disappeared, and despite the scientists having the ability to inject him with Supermanitis, nobody read in the manual where you have to charge that up quite regularly with sunlight, so they're keeping him in a cave with no sunlight, so obviously he loses his powers. But he begs and begs to be let out on a mission with the Justice League of China, and weasels his way in through a massive coincidence, which is very handy. And then while he's out there, he's locked in the car, but manages to have another moment of heroism, showing that he is a true hero, throws himself in front of a bad guy who just so happens to be... When I'm saying this out loud, I'm thinking, how did I enjoy this? But it is well written, trust me. And it's just enjoyable. But a bad guy who just happens to use as his weapon a big beam of sunlight, and he throws himself in front of that, saves the person who was going to die by doing it. And obviously it recharges his powers, he becomes super again, and bad guy is defeated. So he's had 2 of these big heroic acts in the first 2 issues. He is clearly the hero of the piece, but the problem is he's also a typical teenage jerk, and ends the issue with, yes, he's got his superpowers back, but there's the news reporter that he's got a bit of a crush on, and rather than just having a little quiet word and maybe taking her phone number, he just announces to the world, "Hi, it's me, I'm the new Superman, by the way, this is my name, remember me." So he is completely out himself, 2 issues in, as I am the Chinese Superman, forget this alter ego stuff you wanted me to have, look at me, aren't I great? And the brilliance of it that balances it nicely is the fact that actually he is pretty great. He's twice done really heroic stuff without having his powers. He's not really had a chance to do anything cool with his powers yet, because he's too busy being awesome without them. So he probably is going to be a pretty good Superman. The problem is, whenever he actually engages his brain and starts to think and act like his actual personality, he's awful. It's when he's acting on instinct that he's a proper hero. So lots to play with there, especially with all those little elements to the character. We've got hints that there's something going on with his dad as well. He's involved with this government agency somehow, some way. Not sure whether he's good or bad or how that's going to tie in, and just the awesome fun they're having with the Justice League of China as well. There's lots of fun to be had in this book, and like I say, there's a lot of Superman books at the moment. This is the best one as far as I'm concerned. If you can only read one, read this one. And it also has the massive benefit of the fact that because it's taking place in China and it's completely separate from anything that's going on in the normal DC universe, you can just pick this one up, enjoy it for what it is, a fun Superman story, and not feel yourself being dragged into the other 5 or 6 Superman books that are all going on and all sort of tied into each other and will potentially cost you a fortune. So if you need a bit of Superman action, this is probably the book that you can get it from. If you've enjoyed that, make sure you pop a like on there for me. Subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more. Let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree with what I've just said. Click just here, because that's my playlist of all the books that I've read this week, so you can find out what I thought of my pull list. And thank you very much for watching.